This is one of the darkest stories. I gotta tell you, to be completely honest, from CNN. January 6th committee to ask telecommunications companies to preserve phone records of members of Congress who participated in Stop the Steal rally. They're doing it in increments.
Yes.
They're preserving the records because they don't want to come out right now and seize the records. They did a blacklist last week.
Did you see that?
A blacklist?
They did a roundup. They demanded all of the correspondence between.
Oh, that's not a blacklist.
That's a number of conservative. It was like conservative journalists and influencers and a bunch of people in the Trump administration and associates there.
That's right. Yeah. This is the next level. So they're doing it one step at a time. First, it's, we want this information from the government on these individuals, the Trump administration and all the activists who helped them and their communications from around election time.
They're trying to pull that from the archives.
They want phone records preserved, which means give it a week and they'll say, okay, now we want those phone records.
That's correct.
So this is...
And they're throwing.
We talk about the collapse of Afghanistan, but this is the collapse of the U.S. No joke.
It's horrifying to watch this unfold. And what we're seeing is that they don't actually have any evidence of the thing that they believe happened. Right?
There's no one charged with insurrection.
That's exactly right. There's very few people charged with assault. There were very few people charged with previous conspiracy. Charges. Right. And the previous conspiracy people were known members of radical organizations.
I mean, it's like they said, the FBI report said there was no coordination or central planning.
Scant evidence.
Yeah,
they found scant evidence. Yeah.
They said there was some evidence to indicate people planned on breaking into the building, but no actual plan for what that would entail.
That's right.
So people smack talking on the internet, I guess.
That's basically it. And mostly they were doing it on Facebook. Even though they pulled Parler down to punish Parler for Facebook's sins.
And from this, we are now getting the Democratic Party going after their rivals, their political opponents. And everything they accused Trump of doing, they are doing right now to the umpteenth degree.
That's correct.
So this is the end. I can't see how a country can lose in Afghanistan, considering the past examples of the collapses of countries after failing in Afghanistan. Okay, maybe that's unfair, but man, was that bad.
It could shatter the empire. Yeah, for sure. Like the Soviet Union cracked, but Russia remains. So
even a search warrant, you need to have probable cause and say what you're looking for. In this committee, they're not even saying what they're looking for because they don't actually have any idea how they're going to prove that January 6th was a white supremacist conspiracy to overthrow the government.
They don't care about that. They want phone records because those phone records will then leak. Whoops.
Yes, they want all of it because they don't know what they're looking for.
I mean, we're at the age of just don't use a phone. Don't use unencrypted communication.
Right.
Stop. Yeah, that funny story we always people know it better than I do, but that story about the war game they did where the older guy went up against the younger guys and the older guy won because he sent communications via motorcycle with a written note and they were trying to do digital and they couldn't track it or something like that. It's a funny story. Yeah, but you can't not use a phone. You know what I mean? But you can use things like Signal.
You can use Telegram and Signal, yeah.
Telegram and Signal. You can set up custom operating systems. You can learn how to flash, different operating system on your phone. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but it's not particularly difficult. But I think the bigger issue here is it's not about looking for evidence. What they're doing is they're saying, for one, if you oppose us, we will dig through all your records. We know those records will leak to the press, whether it's social media or telecommunications. And more importantly, they're looking for strategy.
Well,
they wanted information on all of these people from April 2020 to January 2020.
Right. Once they have that information, could people just put in FOIA requests for it?
So the issue with the first request on social media was that they want government communications, things that already exist.
Right.
So entirely possible now that they've made the announcement.
National Archive stuff.
Now that they've made the announcement that these things potentially exist, I'm sure BuzzFeed already went to town subpoenaing every single one of these individuals. It's actually, there's a funny thing that I did at Vice once. We wanted to do, we never actually did. We were planning it, was to do a FOIA request on ourselves and see what comes up, and then whoever gets the biggest stack is the winner.
Nice. That's actually
going
kind of fun.
to North Korea, Venezuela, you'd wonder who has the bigger, FBI file or whatever. So, but you can easily do this. You can now FOIA request saying the Democrats requested this. I would like public information, these documents to be released to the public on all of these individuals and what they were saying. And it's going to leak regardless of FOIA.
Well, the National Archives, I don't think have turned over the information yet. I think they have till September 9th.
It'll happen.
You think so? It's the second request. The committee asked for it, I think.
Some of it
back
will
in
happen.
March or something. So.
Yes. So some of it's a lot of the request is new. Some of it didn't get turned over, but I think it will.
Interesting.
There was resistance before?
No, I think they just didn't do it. I don't know. I mean, the National Archives, they're probably sitting there like, really? We got to do something? Why?
It's a lot of work.
The CIA,
That's a lot of work.
the CIA can look at anybody's info at any time without a request. They can do like a kangaroo court and get a FOIA or whatever that.
FISA?
Yeah, FISA.
FISA.
But Congress has to get permission. This is what we're learning, right?
They have
technically,
subpoena power.
yeah.
I mean, this committee has that power.
They could just subpoena, but I think they're slow rolling it. That's why they're saying preserve records.
Yeah.
That's why they're not saying we demand all records immediately. They're slow rolling it so that people don't get shocked. They want the frogs to boil, not jump out of the pot.
Right.
These are truly dark.
I know it's
days, man.
annoying. I thought that the government was going to help me.
Also, the the Durham
Growing up, I
report.
was always like, thank God I live in the U.S.
Oh, really?
I thought you meant like recently. I was
Oh,
like,
no.
no way, dude.
For like the last 30 years, I was like, sweet.
Right. I was like, after everything you've said, like, I
This
can't
government's
imagine.
awesome.